Hello everyone, welcome to Prompt with Pal, Security Under the Hood. Today we are unpacking a major shift in how organizations approach detection and response. It is the evolution of Microsoft Sentinel into a true security data platform which is unified, graph-enabled and AI-ready. For years, we looked at SIEM as a log collection system. Today, the threat landscape has changed completely. Identity attack dominates, lateral movements is subtle, signals come from cloud workloads, SaaS apps, IoTs, and legacy infrastructure. And Sentinel brings all of these into one unified platform. It maps the logs, identities, devices, tokens, resources into a single security graph. It prepares your environment for AI and it connects the investigation, response, and automation in one place. So this episode is all about showing you what this means for security team, why this shift matters, and how this platform accelerates every step of detection and response. So let us get right into it. Let me now make this real by showing you a transformed experience for incident investigation. The experience begins inside Microsoft Defender, which now acts as a unified security operations portal where analysts can access capabilities across Microsoft Defender XDR and Microsoft Sentinel. Here I'm looking at an incident titled Multi-Stage Attack Involving Privilege Escalation Across Multiple Users. Immediately, we can see that Sentinel has already correlated several alerts together. Instead of analysts investigating isolated alerts, Sentinel automatically groups related detection into a single incident storyline. This dramatically reduces alert fatigue and gives analysts a clearer understanding of what is happening. On the left side, we can see several alerts that have been correlated together, including the suspicious URL clicks, suspicious login activities, abnormal system behavior. These signals come from multiple security systems. Yet, Sentinel has automatically fused them into a single attack narrative. This is powered by Sentinel's Fusion Analytic Engine, which uses machine learning and behavioral analytics to correlate signals across identities, endpoint, and cloud services. Now, if you look at incident graph in the center, we can visually see the relationship between the entities involved in the attack. For example, we can see the activity starting with the user account and device. From there, the attacker appears to pivot towards other identities in the environment, including the user mark. This visual representation is extremely valuable during the investigation. Instead of manually correlating across logs, multiple tools, Sentinel automatically maps users, devices, resources together so analysts can quickly understand the attack path. Now let's focus on mark. Sentinel has already surfaced suspicious activities associated with mark identity. When identity compromise is suspected, the next question security team usually asks is, where could the attacker go next? In the past, answering that question required extensive hunting and multiple queries across identity logs, access permissions, and resource relationships. But now Sentinel can answer that almost instantly. By expanding the investigation, we can view the blast radius associated with this compromised identity behind the scene. Sentinel uses security graph to continuously map relationship between identities, devices, application, and cloud resources across the environment. This allows the platform to visualize the potential attack paths and highlight the assets that could be at risk if an attacker continues to move laterally. Now that we understand the potential target of the attack, we can investigate mark's behavior in more detail. To do that, I switched to the investigation agent that my organization has built using GitHub Copilot connected to Sentinel MCP server. The MCP server acts as a gateway that allows AI to securely retrieve and reason over Sentinel security data. Even though this incident already flags Mark as potentially compromised, I want to understand more about Mark's activity before taking action. In the past, I would have needed strong familiarity with Custo query language, writing multiple queries to pull identity activity, sign in logs, and access records. But now I can simply ask the agent a question in natural language. So I ask, what do we know about user Mark and his activities? Behind the scenes, several things happen automatically. The agent first checks the available Sentinel workspace. It then performs a semantic search across a Sentinel data catalog to identify which table contains relevant user activities. Next, it executes the several KQL queries against the Sentinel data lake to retrieve sign-in logs and related activities. Finally, the system correlates all of these information and produces an investigation summary. Within seconds, we receive a detailed overview of Mark's profile and recent activities. We can see Mark's sign-in activities over the past 30 days, including the number of login attempts, IP addresses used, geographic location, and the application accessed. The system also surfaces Mark's geographic activity, showing login location from Australia and United States. We can even see which application Mark has interacted with across the environment, such as Microsoft Azure Services, Microsoft 365 Components, Automation System. Instead of manually pivoting across logs and dashboards, the investigation agent automatically gathers and summarizes all of these information. This allows analysts to understand the situation quickly and decide whether actions such as revoking access or isolating resources are necessary. Now that we have gathered these clues, we can move on to advanced hunting using the new hunting graph. Earlier, we noticed that the WG production key vault appeared to be accessible from the compromised identity. The hunting graph now helps us visualize which other accounts also have access to other resources. At the center, we can see WG prod key vault, and surrounding it, we see the identities connected to that resources. For example, Melon, the account on the right, is a high privilege identity that is protected with phishing resistant authentication, making it significantly harder for attacker to compromise. However, Laura on the left and Alberto on the top are standard business users. That means they could represent potential entry point for attackers. So let's investigate further. I return to the investigation agent and prompt it, show me the blast radius for Laura. The agent now analyzes all the resources Laura account can access across the organization. Within second, it identifies multiple key vault that Laura has permission to access. These includes production environment, security infrastructure system, automation services, and even AI and machine learning platform. Because Key Vault often contains encryption keys, certificates, API credentials, and service secret. This level of access represents a significant security risk if the account were compromised. The system then performs a risk assessment and highlights that Laura's broad access creates a large blast radius across critical business system. But the platform does more than just identify the risk. It also generates actionable security recommendation. For example, it suggests reviewing whether Laura truly needs access to all these key vaults, enforcing principle of least privilege, implementing just-in-time access using Azure privileged identity management, and monitoring access patterns for anomalies. If we want deeper insights, we can simply ask the agent another question. Why is this risky? The system then generates a detailed security explanation describing the potential attack paths. It highlights a risk such as single point of failure, exposure of crown jewel assets, cross-environment access, and the possibility of lateral movement across the production and security system. This demonstrates how graph-based hunting allows security team to quickly understand the relationships across identities, resources, and infrastructure. Instead of manually stitching together permission and access patterns, analysts can now visualize exposure, understand the blast radius, and proactively reduce the risks across the entire environment.
And that was a quick look beneath the hood of Sentinel as a platform, unified data at cloud scale, graph-powered investigation, and an AI-ready foundation that transforms how defenders work. The real value is simple. When the data is unified and the relationships are mapped, AI becomes accurate, investigation becomes faster, and response becomes consistent. So Sentinel is no longer just a SIEM or a SOAR. solution. It is a security data fabric that holds your entire ecosystem together. So thank you for joining me today, and we will see you in the next episode as we continue strengthening our security muscle one concept at a time. Thank you.